Okay, folks, where we left off last time was we had this database that we need to add because we're losing our meows here. So like I said, we're going to use MongoDB. So just Google MongoDB, and you're going to go to mongodb.org, which is the open source free version. Just download that sucker. I'm on Windows here, so I'm going to use 64-bit. So I'm going to download this, and it just begins. So I'm going to cut this out. Okay, now it's finishing up. Once it finishes, I open it, and I'll open on my other screen here. I hit next. I accept. I definitely read that whole thing. Let's do custom. Screw it. Let's just do next. Install. Okay, we're installing it. Finish. Okay, I guess we have it installed. So, for those of you on Mac, by the way, you could probably use Brew, B-R-E-W, if you don't already have it. It helps you install things, but I'm just on Windows, so I'm doing it this way. But you can do Brew install MongoDB on a Mac. On Windows, it might be a little bit different. Let's see what, I don't even know where it installed it to, but let's try let's try Mongo. No. Okay, I may need to add to the path. If you're on a Mac, you can skip over this, but let's just see where it downloaded it to. Let me do new file explorer, C drive. I'm guessing program files, MongoDB server 3.2 bin. Okay, so we need to add this to our path, our Windows path. So I'm gonna copy that. Where is my computer? You know how to add? Is it the system? I think it's system. No, I clicked on system. It opened this, but let's open control panel. Oh, I know where it is. It's on this. Right click on this PC and then properties, and then
advanced system settings.
Advanced system settings. That's right. That's right. And then environment variables, path. But or is it this path? I never know.
No, edit path.
I think system. Okay, it's right here. I do new. Oh, they made this easier. It used to be different. Haven't used Windows in a while. And then okay.
If you hit the edit on the top one, that's the old way.
Yeah. Okay. So we just put that there. So let's give it another shot. If I open up another dude here, we can do Mongo. Okay. So connection attempt failed. Oh, because I'm not running MongoD. So what you do is you run MongoD. That's your server. It failed. Why did it fail? Exception. Data directory not found. Okay, so before you can run MongoD, which is the server, the Mongo server, you need to make a folder on your C drive called new folder data, and inside that data folder you got to make a folder called DB. If you want to put this folder somewhere else, you got to do like a config file for Mongo and give it the correct path. But basically this is where your database is stored on your file system. So now I should be able to start it up. Okay, and then this thing popped up on Windows, allow access. You know, I mean, you can really get into this stuff, but basically to start Mongo, like I just showed you, MongoD. D, that's the server. And then to connect to this server, we'll open up another window here, and then just type Mongo. Okay, so now I'm connected to the server. So you can do like show DBS, which means like show your databases. I'm on the local database. Actually, it says there's only one database called local, but I'm actually in the test database right now. It's possible to be, quote, in a database even though it doesn't exist yet in Mongo. So I could be like use mittens. See, now I'm in the database mittens. So what I could do is db.collections. Actually, no, sorry. Collections, it's a placeholder. Really, I should be doing db.meows.insert. So for those of you who don't know, MongoDB is a way to store those JSON objects that we saw from earlier. So these squiggly brackets, I can insert that object into a database essentially, and I'm going to put it in a collection called Meows inside the mittens database. So I'm going to say text. This is the text of the meow. And say hi there, and then I think I could do semicolon and insert it. It'll say write result 1. I guess that means it worked. And then you could do db.meows.find. You can also do find 1, but find gets all of them. And there you go. Every object that you insert gets an ID that's automatically generated. But this is the part that we specify, text, hi there. And there's things you could do like db.meows.find. Find me any meows that have text containing the word hi or something like that. I think this should work. Yeah, and it finds it. So like that's like regex, for example. So it's just a way to query it. So that's pretty much it. That's a basic database. You just quickly set it up, get it going. And now what we're going to do is save our meows to this database. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert all these actually into the database. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do db.meows.insert. Actually, no, let me write it here just so I can copy and paste it real quick. db.meows.insert. And then text. And then 2 quotes. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to insert all 4 of these. So let me just, I'm sorry if this is not the way you do things. This is how I like to do things. Just I like to just plan it all out, what I'm going to insert, and then just go and do it all at once. I'm very compartmentalized like that. So I think I could just copy this and run it all at once. And I could do like this, copy. Let me delete this. Whoa. Okay, this computer just yelled at me. I can't do that? Or is it? Forget Windows sometimes. You have to play nice with it. Okay, so I just inserted the first one. Let's see if I can insert all 3 at once though. Edit. Paste. And last one. Okay, so it just inserted all of them. So let's do db.meows.find. Should find all 5. The 4 I just inserted plus the one I inserted before. Okay, so we got hi there, and then we got the 4 that I just inserted. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna delete this. We don't need to store it in an array anymore because we're gonna use the database from here on out. So how do you access the database from your server? So here's how. Let's Google that actually, because I don't even know how to do it. Okay, so MongoDB NodeJS. It's essentially what you got to Google. So let's see, Node.js driver. Okay, I have to do npm install MongoDB. So where's my server? Let me stop the server for a second. So npm install MongoDB. So this is just another one of those node modules. You save it. Oh, that's right. It requires Python. We need to have Python installed on Windows. I think Mac comes with this, but if you're on Windows, you gotta install Python. It's another programming language. I think this MongoDB driver for Node requires Python, so you have to install this.
Get 2.7.
2.7 I've heard is the one to get. So let's see. Yeah. Download 2.7 seems to be the latest stable one, or the most popular one. Windows x86 64 installer. Okay, let's see if we can get that downloaded. Sorry, folks. There's a little bit of setup involved in getting going here, but this is looks like it's going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to cut this down. All right, and it looks like it just finished. So let's install it. Oop, it came up on my other screen. Here it is. Install for all users. Sure. Why limit it? Python 2.7 sounds good. Next, and it's going. And let's see what happens. Oh, it just popped up a little screen here. It's just installing some things. And finish. Okay. So I'm guessing this is not going to work. Nope. Let's go back to File Explorer for a second here. Right click on this PC. Actually, before we do that, let's find where, because we have to add Python to the path. Just like we did for Mongo, we have to add Python to the path so we can run Python from the command line. So, okay, here it is. It's right on the C drive. Okay. So I guess it's just this Python application right here. So I'm going to copy this path, C/Python 2.7. I'm going to right click, properties, and then do advanced system settings, environment variables, path, edit, new, and I don't think it edit. Okay. Python 2.7. Okay. Okay. And I'm probably going to have to restart this window. Yeah, I'm going to restart command prompt. Do another one. C, cd mittens, plus, oops, dir is the Windows one. Okay, let's try Python. Okay, here we go. We're in Python. So Control C to close that. And then, now that we have Python available to us, we can finally do npm install MongoDB, which is the MongoDB driver for Node. Let's see if this works. Please, please work. Okay, so I think it's compiling some sort of driver. Could not load vcbuild.exe. Okay, another Windows gotcha. So we need to install the .NET Framework 2.0 SDK. Yeah, I forgot about this one. .NET Framework 2.0 SDK. Yeah, Windows is awesome, right? So let me copy this message. .NET Framework S2.0. Let me copy this. Okay. It's just you just Google it, the first result. Okay, this is again only for the Windows people out there. I'm sorry that you chose this life. Okay, so just downloaded it, setup.exe. This is going to take some time. It's a couple hundred megs. And I think what this does is I don't know. I could make up a reason, but I don't even know what it does. But it's just one of those weird Windows things, like a patch for Windows of some sort that lets you do whatever MongoDB needs to do to compile this package, this library. So let's give it a few minutes here. All right, it looks like it just finished. Let's open it up. Opening. And not sure what's happening. I assume it's doing something. I don't see anything. I don't know where it went. Where did it go? No? Let me do Shift-Alt Escape. Well, it's not running. Let me try opening my downloads folder. Okay, this popped up over on my other screen. Let's try install using compatibility settings. And okay. It did not launch correctly. No, launch the troubleshooter. Probably gonna cut this out. Run as administrator, maybe. What the heck? I'm gonna pause this. Alright folks, I just realized the reason it wasn't opening was because I downloaded the x86 version, which is 32-bit, but this is a 64-bit computer. For those of you who don't know, you could just open up your Windows Explorer. Where did it go? And then do this PC, right-click Properties, and right over here it says 64-bit. Again, this isn't my computer, so I'm not on top of things sometimes. So just make sure you get the right one when you download this .NET Framework 2.0 software development kit. This will do whatever it's got to do to your Windows setup to enable this installation of this ever elusive MongoDB NodeJS driver. So let's see if this works. Finishing up here. And here we go, clicking on it now. It's not again. Not again.
What are you doing?
Where does it go? I don't think it's doing anything. I don't think anything happened. Hold on, pause. Alright folks, so I did some Googling while I paused it here, and I cannot get to the root of this problem, but another way to fix it is by installing Visual Studio. Again, this is still just for the Windows people. For the Mac people, this command should have worked right off the bat, the install MongoDB thing. But if you're on Windows, you're going to need Visual Studio. I'm going to get the Visual Studio Community Edition. I guess that's the free one. And it downloads it. Let's see what we got here. I'm just going to do the minimal run file, Visual Studio, and let's see here. I think it's okay. This popped up. Default, whatever the default thing is. Okay. If my memory serves me correctly, installing Visual Studio can take some time. So let's see if this has improved over the years. It's been a few years since I've done this, and it doesn't look like it has. So I'm going to pause it again and let this install. Alright, it just finished. So let's launch it, I guess. I don't know what it's launching. Okay, it looks like it's launching Visual Studio here. Oh, over here on my other monitor. And it looks like this. No, I don't want to sign in. Whatever, start Visual Studio. I'm just going to close it as soon as it starts up. Let's see what it's doing. Okay. Oh. It just opened up on my other monitor. Okay, so here's Visual Studio, which lets you make Windows applications, web apps, all sorts of stuff, C#, ASP.NET. Goodbye, I just closed it. So I doubt this is going to work because you got to restart this usually when there's a change in the path. So this should work now once I have it open here. Oops. CDSRC mittens. Oops. Happens when I hit Mac buttons on a window. It does weird noises. So let's try this now. npm install MongoDB -. Save. Now let's see what happens here. please work. Ooh, failed to locate cl.exe. Invalid version number. Okay. This is a different version from last time. Copy. I guess I'll Google that error. Let's open some windows here. You know what I might have done? Okay, it also works. Someone's saying you can install it from Visual Studio, so let's try that. All apps. Where's Visual Studio? Let's open this up. Okay, file, new, project. This is crazy. C++. I guess it's this one. Install Visual C++ 2015 tools for Windows Desktop. Okay. Install. Okay, now it's doing it, I'm guessing. Let's see what happens. Don't worry, I'll recap everything that we just did in this video. Okay. I have to close Visual Studio now, it says, because it might restart my computer, which I just love. I love that about this. Okay, whatever, install. Update. 4 gigs, that sounds about right for a compiler. Oh, just kidding, it's not. That's a huge file. Okay, so here we go again. There's gonna be a long upgrade. So the first thing I did was install Visual Studio. The second thing is it looks like some sort of update that's gonna give me the C++ compiler, which will hopefully let me install the MongoDB driver for Node.js. So let's give this a little pause while this goes. All right, setup completed. All specified components. Close. Okay, let's try this. I'm gonna close it again. Now let's try it one more time. cd c:/src/mittens npm install MongoDB save. Come on, please. Yes, that looks different. It's doing something. Yes. Yes, it installed. Okay, now we're back synced up between Windows and Mac. So now that we have it installed, we can go var copy paste that MongoDB equals require MongoDB, and just a reminder, this is just a variable name. We can name it anything we want. This though has to be proper. Express MongoDB body dash parser. That has to be spelled properly, otherwise it ain't gonna work. So now that I have it installed there, remember those meows that we entered into the database? Let's see if we can bring them out with app.get. So how do we do that? Let's Google it. Let me close all tabs to the right. Node MongoDB driver. So again, let's go back to the docs on MongoDB. They are the authors of this driver, so they'll probably have some quick start things. Quick start, no. Let's just say find, because I know find is the command for reading from the database. Queries, let's see what this is. Okay. So how do you, maybe example? Example is another good search. Let's try this guy. He's top 2. Basic example. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is what people do. Mongo client. So instead of doing this, they do this. var Mongo client equals require MongoDB.Mongo client. So that's another way to do it. No, I don't want that. Then you do Mongo client.connect. Copy So I usually just paste this right after you initialize the app. You connect to the server. The database, if you remember, was called Mittens, and the collection is called Meows. So it's localhost because I'm running MongoDB locally. The default port is 27017. It's just going to be that if you just open it up and run it. And then Mittens is the database. As long as there's not an error, this is the callback function. So connect is a function. The first argument is the connection string. The second argument is the callback function, which consists of what you wanted to do after connect. So it's like, hey, we're connected. So now let's go back to our server. Well, we don't need this. Let's go back to this window. Let's do node-mon server.js. It should say it connects. Okay, it says we are connected. So it connects successfully to the database. Now, let's take another look at this example. db.collection. So you have to get the collection name. So I'm going to copy this. Inside the route where we're getting the meows, let's get the collection that has the meows in them. So db, actually that's not right. Oh, db is here, okay. So what I can do is this, var db equals null. As long as the db comes back correctly, I can say db equals, actually I should change this variable name to new db, or I'll call it dbcon. dbcon for db connection. So db connection. This is in JavaScript, this is called a closure. I can put a variable out here, and as long as it's outside of this enclosure right here, I can use it inside it. So this isn't the safest way, because if someone calls this route while we're connecting to the database, we're going to get an error, but whatever. So db is now set, and now I can do db.collection, and the collection is called meows. And then that also has a callback function. And then I'm going to say meows. I'm just going to make a function here. So db.collection meows, so return the collection. And I think I can do meows.find, if my memory serves me correctly. Find any object. And then that comes with a callback function. Also, actually, this should really be called meows collection. Just because I'm going to return some meows, so I'd rather call it that. I don't want to like confuse things here. So first thing I do is get the collection. Second thing I do is do a find, like a query, and then the result I'm going to send it back to the website. And this is where I'm going to start to use return. Just get in the habit of always returning the last thing you want to do in your route. It's a good habit to get into. You'll understand why later. Just because if you put commands after this line, they'll get executed even if you don't expect them to. So sometimes you don't want to return. Sometimes you want those extra commands to execute. So it's just like a tool. It's just for now. Just always do it. So let's see if that works. We are connected. Let's open up our mittens and refresh. Okay, nothing happened. Let's see if there's a JavaScript error on the front end. Console, no error. Let's try this. Let me go back to that example, actually. Maybe I misused the example. Find. Dot find. Oh, it's toArray. Sorry. It's dot toArray. Find. So find dot toArray, and then function error items. Okay. That's the correct syntax. I'm sorry I taught you the wrong one briefly there for a second, but what I'm really trying to teach you here is learning from your mistakes, because I'm not always going to be there over your shoulder while you're doing this. So you got to be able to read examples online, see how people are doing things, and then do it yourself. So even I don't always remember how to do this. So I'm always looking up examples. So let's see if this works. Boom. Waiting for localhost. That did not work. Seems like there's some sort of error. This is waiting for localhost. That means the server is hanging right now. Converting circular structure to oops, Control C. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so it did go back. I wonder why it hung up though. Res.send. Oh, I think I have to do res.json. I'm pretty sure. Let's see if that changes things. Okay, it seems to be working. I don't know what happened there, why it got hung up, but just something to note. If you're going to send back JSON, which is, remember that object? See, I'll log what this is. Console.log meows. You'll see what happens when I call this now. Refresh. So what comes out is an array. So these square brackets on the end here, it contains an array of objects, and each object has an ID and some text. So that's JSON. JSON is like an array of objects, or it's an object. And so I'm going to get rid of that. So when you're returning JSON, and when you call an API function and return it in Express, you have to do res.json. Don't quote me on that though. I don't know for sure, but it just fixed our problem. So there's one more thing we got to do on the front end, where we get the meows, where we do response.data. So now meows contains that array that we just saw, scope.meows. So let's take a look at our view here. So instead of just putting meow, which returns back the entire object, we have to do meow.text and save that. And oh, it keeps getting hung up. I wonder why. Whoa. Probably doing something wrong. Okay, that time it worked. Something might be slightly wrong with our server though. Meows collection.find db.collection. I don't know. I mean, let me know your thoughts on this, but sometimes this isn't working. And so one more thing we got to do before I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to make it so you can add a meow to the collection. So let's take another look at our tutorial. Insert. So I'm going to copy this code. I'm going to get rid of meows.push because we don't have that anymore. Paste this, db.collection. So first I get the collection, and then instead of finding, I'm going to insert. I'm going to get rid of the to array. You only need that for finding. How does it work? Insert doc w1. The second thing for inserting is this thing called options. This is also an object. Oh, sorry, that's not the right place to put that. So the first thing you insert is the object. The second thing is the options. And the third thing is the callback function. So there's 3 arguments. The thing you're inserting, the options, and then the callback. The options is just like you're always going to put W1. It just means write mode 1. It's like a MongoDB setting. I don't even know what it does, to be honest. I don't even know. So let's just insert. I think it was, if I remember correctly, rec. I think we use text. Rec.body new meow. Remember how we did meows.push rec.body.new meow? Instead of pushing it onto an array, we're going to make it into an object. In fact, let me take this out. Let me do it right here. var new meow equals this new object here, and I'm going to take this new object that we just made and insert it into the database. And then once it's correctly inserted, I'm going to return, I'm just going to do res.send because I'm not returning any JSON. I'm just going to do res.send. It'll say, hey, it worked, basically. I'm going to get rid of this guy down here. And that's it. That's how you add a new tweet. So let's just make sure that works. And thanks for sticking with me, by the way. Let's refresh this. Hello, hello. Hello, Jello. I spelt it wrong. Submit success. And let's refresh it. There we go. Hello, Jello is there. So that means it's in the database. And just to reiterate, let's bring back up our Mongo. So let's do db.meows.find. And there you go. We got hello, Jello that we just added. Let's add one more real quick. I'm going to call it hello2. Submit. Okay. And now let's run this command one more time. And there we go, hello2. So we have a real life database now. It's containing our meows, our tweets, if you will. And then when you refresh the page, it queries the database on the server and sends it back to the front end. And the front end renders it using Angular ng repeat. So that is mean stack in a nutshell. From here on out, we're just going to be building on top of the stack, new features, new ways to save data, new functionalities. So stay tuned. And you know, this is a lot to go over. So for each of these videos, I'm going to do a deep dive if you want to learn more. So stay tuned for that. All right, out.